Okay, I got it figured out. So here's what it is. It's a 5.5 freestyle frame. So that was enough to help me figure out. If you remember this plate, these holes, I thought this was 30 by 30 stack, and it may very well be. We'll leave those, well, I don't know. Regardless, these outside here are the correct size for the little nuts. So they set down in there. Again, your arms can go only one way. Sorry about that. Charging a battery. They're all dead. So we will get that. Yeah, and then so there you can see that this plate, it's going to sandwich your arms. So and that's nice. I like that because as you're putting this together, your arms are basically going to lock into the inside. So when you take the back one and put it on, they're all going to connect. So that's good. Lots more strength to the frame. It also makes sure that they're all in the right place. There we go. And you get the first two on there, then everything will line up faster for the rest. Except for when it does that. There we go. I imagine there's probably an easier way to do this, but those suck down in those holes pretty easy, which is great. I'm not going to torque them down or anything right now because, well, we still got to see how the rest of it goes together. But that'll hold us where we need it. Yeah, I kind of like the way they did that. You really can't put them in wrong because of the holes being laid out the way they are. I hope everybody else is having a decent evening. Over here in Ohio, had a really bad storm coming in. No snow, just lots of rain and thunderstorms. Perfect. And I would say that this is, it's not a true X. I'll measure that for you here in a minute, because I actually don't remember seeing a frame size. I do see over here on their page that the built grams of the frame is 88 grams. Uses 5 or 5.5 inch props. 240. So let me grab the trusty mic again. And let's go. Well, we can't do that. There's no, this is a sideways X. There's no way that it can be a true X. I am curious though. 144 millimeters that way. And my caliper's not big enough for that. So Um, I haven't flown one that was the sideways like this. I have a stretch stacks um, where it's the lengthwise, but so I'm gonna guess these. Yep, these are for your stack. If you're using a 36 by or a 30 by 30, one of the features that really got me interested was these slots back here are set up for a 20 by 20. So if you've got a VTX, or in this case, probably what's going to end up happening is I'm going to put a 20 by 20 flight controller back here, maybe, and do the 30 by 30 ESC. We'll have to see. I got to get this together so I can tell how much height I've got to fit something in there. It may end up being a Mamba 40 amp stack, which is a diatone. Yeah, diatone. Why is that not lining up? Should go in easy. It's a diatone F4, 40 amp ESC Bell Heli S, I believe. I don't think those stacks are Bell Heli 32. I kind of like when they use these. Makes it a little easier to get it apart. Still haven't figured out what those are for. Yeah, they don't line up on anything. We'll find out. I'm only going to let this run long enough to get this thrown together so we can get a measurement, and then I will stop it and go grab whatever, whatever stack or ESC and all that I'm going to use. I'm assuming because of the way they did these inside ones here that they really wanted you to use a 30 by 30, but these, the four for the 20 by 20, they go through the arms too and would hold them. So yeah, and I know it's because they're trying to keep the cost down, but it would have been nice to have a set of 20 by 20 screws in case that's what you were going to go with. Alright, so now all these little ones have to be for putting in your standoffs. And I'm thinking those are 30 millimeter standoffs. Zero that. Yep, 30s. So we should have plenty of height on this then. Oh. Well, I'll show that later. Actually, let's just get 4 of them in there and see what we've got. Just need to find out how much room we're going to have here. All right, you have the way it's designed. You have your standoffs back here and up front too. But for measurement's sake and to see this thing, we're only doing 4 at the moment. There's also something else that I ordered to go with this. It's a full 3D print kit. We're going with purple and green. This thing's gonna be bright. And this has side plates, a top plate. This was interesting. I haven't seen any other quad done this way. It's got a full top to it, and then so you have for your GoPro, and maybe one of the little lollipops if you wanted to do that. So there was that. You've got side plates for the camera, which I saw them in the picture. You've got all of this adjustment on both of them, and these go up here on the sides, so they'll go over the standoffs. They'll slide down on the standoffs, and so you've got a ton of room right here, all kinds of options for your camera forward and back. So that'll be interesting. So all right, it looks like I've got a ton of room in here. Might as well get a measurement because somebody's gonna want to know. There we go. 24 millimeters inside there. So that's a pretty good amount. You could actually do, you know what? I think I might be able to fit the Holybro, the new F7 stack that they've got where the VTX is on top too. That might fit. Let me grab it. I'll be right back and we'll find out. Okay, I'm back. This is a good size flight stack, or ESE. And the problem is that all your different diodes or whatever they are, plus your plug to go to your flight controller, stick down so far. I want this upside down, and I'm going to build it like the video shows, which means it needs to be sideways. Normally it would go to the back, and we could do that, but there's a reason why they built it that way in the picture. It is a top mount battery, so what I had to do in order to clear these posts and get it down as low as I could, I took some of the plastic washers that you get in these standoff kits. You know, they're just round. They're not very thick, but they're just right for this. But I had to cut them, and it's just because of this particular ESC, just the way it sits down and all that. So I cut them like that. Slip them. Plus, that's going to insulate this. But when this is on there, when it's all the way down, which one of them's turned wrong. There we go. That has almost no gap. There is a gap there. It's not actually touching, but it is so thin. I can't really even put my blade under there. So, because carbon fiber is conductive, I'm going to conformal coat this down here before I bolt this down on it. Probably not needed, but I would feel better doing that versus blowing up a $130 stack. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the ESE bolted on there, and then I'll be back. Okay, wanted to bring something up. on this Kakute stack, for the ASC, it comes with these little weird looking, they're part of a board, but you have to put these on here on one side, or, well, no matter what, it has to be this side, because your look at that pointer, all these chips stick up on here above, and they're so close to the edge there that you can't put anything on there without it being all at a weird angle. So you have to put those on there first. They come in the box with the ESC, and so that lets everything sit flush. Let's see if I can get that. Let your yeah, it helps your standoffs so that they stay where they're supposed to. So we got that. Now let's see if those are tall enough. And if you're familiar with the Kakute, it has a soft mounted, this is the gyro, and it's soft mounted. So the board can be hard mounted. You don't have to use cushions or anything like that, because the foam underneath this takes up, and so it doesn't hurt anything. But there is an arrow right there pointing to forward. What I usually look for is where my video connection is for my camera. In this case, it's right. It's not always going to be right necessarily, but so whoop, almost put it on backwards. So here's our front, and this is very tight on here. Once it starts down, it's fine, but man, what I'm concerned about is if those are tall enough. Awesome. Kind of as I brought up before, wow, that's going to cause a problem maybe. This is our plug-in for our motors, and this is our, whoop, there we go. That's our plug-in for the ESC. That's the plug-in for the flight controller, and I don't think that's long enough. Actually, it may be if we run it underneath. Okay, well, if you want to run your black box, you're going to need to mount it a little higher, because this slot right here is for your SD card for the black box. I don't care about it. However, that is metal, and probably don't want metal touching metal. So I don't know. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's front. Huh. Gonna have to consider this for a minute. I mean, we could change the orientation in Betaflight and flip this around. That's not a real big deal to do that. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. And that mainly being because of where the port is for the flight controller, because here on this side, that's going to go down behind here, and I'm very worried that it's going to be touching that stuff. Makes it unusable if I ever decide to get rid of it. So let's plan ahead, and yeah, let's do it that way. There's an easier way to do it though. I'll just flip the ESC around and we'll put it back on there the right way. Doesn't matter to me which side the battery comes out on. So, all right, no sense watching this. Let me get this back apart. I'll throw it back together. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, that'll work out fine. I just flipped the power lead coming out. Plus, I realized while I was doing it that now the motor orientation is correct. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're good there. Flight controller is pointing the right way. And so now, and I know I can make this work. What I'm gonna have to do is cut these bolts off, make them a little bit shorter, use the little standoffs on top, and tighten it down, and then that'll allow me room to put the VTX on top. So we're golden there. So now the next thing, I am gonna have to take flight controller off again because I do not want to try to solder underneath that. Plus I used a little bit taller standoffs down here to raise that up some. So now and this seems like poor planning on their part. You have both motor ports on this side, so they're going to cover that. Again, like I said, for me, I don't care. I don't use it, so it doesn't matter. But if you were building this, you would have to unplug that to get your SD card out. But the biggest point is I don't want to try to solder. This covers the motor leads, so I don't want to try to solder underneath there. It'll make for a bad job, and we don't want to damage any electronics. So this is what we're using on here. These are Rotor Riot Grinder 2306 2450s. And these are going to look pretty cool on here. No boy weather alert. It's not too bad around here right now, but it's working its way this way. So I thought these just look really cool. If you can see it in the light, they've got, like, I don't know, circuits on it. Hype train, grinders. That's just a cool looking logo. So they're very low, and yeah, they'll fit those arms really well. So okay, I am going to get the motors put on. Normally I start with the motors and then work in. I got sidetracked with making sure this was going to work, and so there's a little grinder bot guy. Why isn't that a sticker, though? It's just a piece of paper. Why would you do that? We all love stickers, right? Ah, well. Part of this kit that I got of the 3D printed parts, since it's going to be a top mount battery, includes these, the landing pads. So I'm going to throw them on there. I have them. I might as well. And it also comes with arm protectors. I'm not sure I'm going to do that or not, because that's going to be a long bolt, but you know what? It kind of looks cool. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think I will. You'll see when I get back what I decided to do. So, talk to you in a minute. Alright, I'm back. Okay. So, pulled the flight controller off the top. Now we have full access to the entire board. Easy to solder. I did a loose braid on the wiring, and I'll show you all what I'll do in a little bit. Just keep them down and they look a little nicer. And plus, if they're straight wires, you can't keep them where you want them. So this will make it easy. So I haven't really done too much soldering on camera. Get it on there as fast as possible. You don't have to do a ton. Just get it started. Oop. There we go. So that's all you need. If you need a little bit more, you can put more on when you're ready to put your wires on there. Battery leads, though, I tend to try to cover the whole thing because I want a really good connection for my battery leads. Being that it's coming out the side, it's probably not going to be a problem with this one, but there we go. If you put the solder down on the pad that you're doing first and then hit it, it gets on there a lot faster. I do have to say I like these really big pads on the Kakute. And it may get a little noisy. It's storming outside and I'm in a big truck, and so alright, so now we got to figure out our motor leads, and I like this flight control or ESE because it's very well marked. M1, M3, M4, M2. So our orientation, this is the front right here. Our camera's going to go up here. So this is always going to be motor 1, and it's lined up right there. So we'll use those first 3 pads. Motor 2, those 3 pads. Motor 3, motor 4. So we got to shorten these down though a little bit. You know what? Maybe not. Yeah, they're just a little bit too long for my taste. No. No, because we got a standoff that goes right here, which is going to take up room there. And I don't want to try to put the wiring between right here. I don't know. You know what? There is room for that. That would kind of keep it protected too. So let's do this. There's that rain and wind. Alright, yeah, there's plenty of room in there for that to come through. I did not get my little tweezers. So, and you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to leave the extra length, the length that the wires are, I'm going to leave them that way. You know, if you ever have to work on it, if you have to take the motor off or whatever, or have a crash, it's kind of nice to have the little bit of extra, and they'll tuck underneath right here, so it'll be fine. So, yeah, you know, these come pre-tinned, but I don't trust that. Well, we know it's not the same solder that we use, so let's zoom in on that. Where'd it go? There it is. Come on. All right. So when you're doing these motor wires, touch the wire and then touch solder to it, drag it over the top. Touch the wire and then drag the solder over the top. Awesome. Ow. And don't forget, it's hot. I'm not editing that out. That's a good lesson. Alright, so we will start with this one right here. Hopefully you can see that. Heat through the top. You should have a nice shiny solder there when you're done. That one does not have enough solder on it. I'm not sure if you can tell that or not, but it's not all the way through the wiring. It may have been that the wire sucked it up. That happens if you're not fast enough. There we go. Nice and shiny. Let other wire go. That one did the same thing. Try not to be on these pads that long. There we go. Yeah, see, there's wires will tuck under here. They'll be out of the way. Between the flight controller and the standoff, there's some protection there for the wiring. And then what I will do, if I can remember where it's at, there we go. This will make it nice and neat. Oop. Well, there goes the mess. Again, not editing. Sorry about the shaking on the camera. Okay. We're going to cut off a decent amount. These are pretty thick arms. This is stretchy stuff. Cut us a few thin strips. It's really super stretchy. And you want to use the clean side to get any kind of connection to it. So we're going to wrap it over the top. You don't need a ton of this stuff. And you just keep pulling it until you get to the end. Pull it on around there. Yep, didn't pull it enough. It's best to end with this stuff on a flat surface. And these might not have been thick enough. Come on. There's no glue on this stuff. It just sticks to itself. That's really all we need to keep that from popping up or anything like that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it again, and I'm going to get the other 4 motors done. That flight stack to go back down, or ESC. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there. All right, so I'm going to get the rest of the motors wires done, and then I'm going to wrap the 4, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. It's actually 2 days later now. I ran out of time, had a couple unexpected things come up, so got back at it this morning. Instead of doing a true build video, I just went ahead and finished up from where we left off. It wasn't like there was a lot left. Went this way with the battery connector. It's still wired. It's still flexible. Not a lot, but going straight up because this is a top mount quad. This is the camera mount. I believe I talked about it in the last video, but there's a lot of all these holes. Let's go around to this side. All of these holes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes through here on each side that you can use to move your camera forward or backwards. Very cool idea. These, I think I got these off of Banggood, and whether it'll do any good or not, they wanted to spin pretty easy, so I used some hot glue underneath and then on the sides. I think that'll hold it, maybe not in a crash, but for the most part it should be alright. And then I'm not actually going to use this camera because this top plate, this is goes over the top, holds your little mini lollipop, and this worked out really well because the Alta, whatever it was, has the MMCX, I believe it is, connector, and I had this, I don't know, I got it in some sort of promotion or something, and it had that on there, and it's exactly the right length to go there. So, and it's protected with the 3D cover. I mean, it just pushes down in there, so easy. But we've got the mount for your camera, and your strap would go in here. So we don't need a DVR on here. Not a big deal to me. So that's why I'm not going to use that in here. I've got a mini Foxy Air on the way. We'll use that. So the only other thing on the wiring, like I said, this is the Holybro F7 stack. So, okay, up front, get this zoomed down. So, camera output right here. Man, that is still really fuzzy. Video in, 5 volt positive, ground. Then for that teal, whatever it is, the flights or the transmitter, the yellow here, so video out. This is RSSI. You got ground on top, and then where I'm connected on the red here, it's actually battery plus. They set that up for their VTX because that's what they wanted it to use. And as I've said before, I run FlySky. This is the Fly 14 Plus. These are the ones I was talking about earlier. No problems out of them at all. You got a bind button at the top. I'm going to, once I've got it bound, I'm going to heat shrink this and then just stick it down back here, and so it's perfect going out the back through the tubes. But that was really simple. Just I went off of RX3 right here, and then ground and 5 volt. If you're running S-Bus, or not S-Bus, Spectrum, that's your 3.3 volt pad right there. But I mean, you've got RX TX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you've got 5 places along there to hit the different UARTs. And on the back, if you're interested, you've got ground over here, LED, 5 volt positive, Oh, I can't even read that one. I have no idea. SCL, SDA for your GPS, ground, and no connection. And at the end, oh no, sorry, my bad. This motor 5 and 6 if you need them. So really, honestly, very easy to set up. Obviously, still need to get into beta flight, or honestly, not sure if Holybro does butterflight, or I think they do just beta flight. Anyway, I'll get that done before we can fly it. But so yeah, that's it. I left the props off. I put one on there just so you could see it. I'm gonna try them. These are DYS cheapies. Oh, before I put this back together, protect your stuff. I had not done it yet. I did the motor leads underneath because I had to put the stack back on top, or the flight controller on top of it. But I didn't do on the battery leads. And with it sticking out the side that way, better to have it covered. That's it. That's really all that needs to be protected. Your battery leads and your motor leads on the board. You know, it's not about waterproofing. It's about just protecting anything from being just sitting there where something might hit it in a crash. So honestly, other than, like I said, still waiting on the camera I'm going to use in it, which will be here later this afternoon. That's the only thing I've got left to do, and I already got the wire on there to plug it in, so it's just a matter of plug it in and mount it, and that's it. I'm going to show you something else on these. Something to bring up to you. If you are wanting to build, go on Amazon, get a set of standoffs, a plastic box with just an assortment of them, because like on this build was a good example. I had a really hard time getting my height where I wanted it. It just looks like this. They come with different length standoffs, different styles, lots of 3mm nuts, and these are the nylon screws, not metal. So they're like 12 or 13 bucks, but you know, you can get a lot of builds done out of that. So I lost my nut. Oh, there it is. Alright, you don't have to crank this stuff down. Just use my thumb and twist it around. If I can get my fingers on these, I don't crank them down. So then, dang it, I didn't have it on. Well, what I was going to say was across these, back in. Across the top of these, I used the nylon standoffs underneath, and then obviously the nylon screws or nuts on top. Just take your soldering iron, and this isn't hot yet, but just lay it across, and well, it is good enough. Just kind of drag a line across it. What that does is it doesn't, you can get it back off later if you need to, because this little plastic leftover stuff, it breaks away easy, but it will stop them from coming loose while you're in flight or when you don't want them to. So just like that, that's all you got to do. Now you don't have to worry about it. And so I do like the idea behind this 3D print. I decided to go with green and purple. I don't know why, just what I decided on. I don't know as it gives you much protection on this, but it's top mount battery, so it might hold your battery in place a little better, I guess, I suppose. But that's really about all it's going to do. But it's nice to have the mount for your... Sorry about that, I was totally out of camera. You've got your mount for a GoPro if you want. And really this, I believe, is set up for a session 5, which actually I got mine right here. Let's see. Yeah, perfect fit for the session. And so you just run your strap through that and up and over, and it would hold it. I don't know if I'd want to run it without a case of some sort on it though, but that's what the idea of that is. And it's got a lip there at the front that catches it, and then obviously one back here at the back. So like I said, it's an alright idea. So like I was saying, the length on this antenna was perfect. I can lay it over to the side, snap it in, and that's important to me because you never know when you might have to take it back apart again, and I want to be able to if I need to. So again, I said I was doing this because it was a new company that I had found, not necessarily new. And I wanted to see what kind of quality product they made, because I don't know anybody who has used any of their stuff. And again, I didn't find any build videos on this one. And it's called the SkilZaw, SkilZaw, like a skill saw. It looks like all their frames are named after different saws, which is fine. It's something different. As far as the quality goes, I think it is very good. The carbon fiber is well cut. Your edges are not sharp enough to cut you, obviously, but you know they're not rounded off or anything. It's a very stout frame. There is movement, but no more than what you would expect. It's a freestyle bird, so, but you have lots of camera protection, and again with the adjustable points for your camera in here, that's a very big plus. Great idea. My 30 by 30 stack fit, and I still have a little bit of room, not much, especially on this side, the connector, which is up under there where that white plug is. it's very, very close there. It's not touching, but it's, I don't know. Can I even fit that through it? Yeah, it's not quite as thick as the end of that. But there's no flex there, so it doesn't matter. It should never hit. So one thing I've been forgetting to do is forgetting to do, at least on video, I never paid attention to weight before, but I suppose it actually does matter to a lot of people. Ooh, she's a heavy one. 365 grams. And that's without a battery strap. I don't have one around. And actually, I believe this one's kind of set up for like 2 battery straps. Oh, forgot the other props. The nuts are on there, so, oh wow, 382. Man, that's a heavy bird. Then you throw GoPro on there. And a battery. Where's a battery? Here's a 3S 1500. But it's freestyle. A lot of guys say that they really like a heavy bird for freestyle. So, well, there you go. However, yeah, there's nothing else. Well, but the battery strap. So, let's see. I got one of those two somewhere. Sorry about that. That was loud. They're a little cheapy diet or whatever. There you go. Ready to fly. So, all right, guys. Well, to give an opinion, it's easy to assemble. I think it's well thought out. The way they did it, the way they made it work together. It is very strong frame, which of course is good. I really don't have any complaints with the 3D printing, which came from 3D Matisse. I'll put a link in the description. The only issue that I had with this 3D printing was these holes right here were up too far. They didn't line up with the frame. I just used my soldering iron and hit it there, made them line up, and that's fine. It didn't hurt anything. And this is the reason why I did this battery lead where I did. So it's right there next to where you're going to have your battery on top. Where did that battery go? So easy to plug it in there. That's where you can see it. Be real easy to plug it in. And you could go with a bigger battery too. This is, like I said, just a 1500 3S. I would say that for the 3D print stuff, if they were going to do anything else that I would like to see, would be something for your antennas. I mean, I've seen plenty of the different models and stuff from other manufacturers where they do a something similar to this, but on the back here. Maybe something like that. Just a thought. Otherwise, you know, everything goes together really well. Um, Not the thickest stuff. I mean, and remember, in the weight of this, that does include all the 3D printed stuff. Um, so yeah, I like I said, I think they thought it out well. There's a lot of freestyle birds out there. I don't know if this one's better than any others. I don't want to compare it to another one, um, especially one that I haven't flown. But yeah, it looks good, and we'll see how it flies when I get a chance. Um, so yeah, twinquads.com, and I will again put a link in the bottom to them and 3D Matisse. 3D Matisse does 3D prints for other stuff too, and not only, but he does a lot for the different twin quads. So, and he's down around the Ohio, around down south as well. So I'm assuming he probably met up with them in person, maybe at a race or something like that. But there's all the props on it. So yeah, not bad. If you're looking for a freestyle, the 4mm arms, um, you don't have to do all the 3D printed stuff. I just figured if I was going to do it, I'd review everything or give my opinion of everything. And I'm anxious to fly this stack. It's the F7 and Bell Heli 32. Oh boy, it was at least a 50 amp 4-in-1 ESC. So we'll see how it does later when I get a chance to fly it. We got snow last night, by the way. It was 58 degrees when I left yesterday morning. Got back and it was raining, and then it turned to snow. So just needs to dry out some and warm up a little. So I hope you found this informative. And the last thing, the big thing about Twin Quads is that they're a small company, and I'd always prefer to support a small company that's working hard to make a good product than I would go to a big corporation. You know, that's just the way I feel about it. So that's why I looked into them. Would I buy another? Probably, but it would probably be along the lines of a racer instead of a freestyle. But yeah, it's not bad, really. I don't really have any complaints about it. So that's good. So we will see you on the next video. No idea what's coming up now. Although I do have... I've said before that I came out of the RC cars and stuff. Have built a lot of custom stuff. But I have decided that I want to try a part of the RC car section that I've never done before, which is drag racing. And so I have a 24-inch long top fuel dragster that's not top fuel, it's electric. And I'm actually building it for my girlfriend. It'll be a custom build. Custom painted body and all that stuff. So, because I can't do anything and just leave it the way it is. So, but yeah, I'll do a couple of videos over that of building it figuring stuff out and all that. So, as always, I appreciate every one of you. Ask questions, make comments, do whatever you feel like you need to do. I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can and get you the answers that you need. So until then, keep it safe in the air and on the road, and we'll see you next time.